This is one of the most haunted spots in the whole of Singapore.
If there's anything or anyone here right now with us, is it possible to tap the device over there and make it go red?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eugene. Welcome to Haunting History, where we explore the darker sides of our past, presence, and the scars that's left behind by Singapore's history. Some of you might have seen me hosting on Supernatural Confessions, but for those of you who don't, I'm an avid collector of stories and confessions of the paranormal nature. And tonight, I'm excited to share some of these stories with you. My very special guest on this episode is Satan.
Hello, hi, my name is Saturn.
Was that your real name or did you just give
No,
it?
it's a nickname. It's what everyone, that's what I go by now. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a bad thing?
Many times I brought this device with me or with some guest outside to these places. I don't have a lot of readings. For some reason, even sitting here with you, I kind of get a sense that we are not alone. So I'm quite excited to bring you there because I think you might just be the magnet for such things and we might get some interesting reads tonight.
Well, I hope that I am a magnet for such things. I love the supernatural stuff. I love spiritual stuff. I am an avid believer that things like this are very interesting, even though I'm not fully a ghost hunter, but I think things of sorts are something that I would love to get into.
You're definitely my people and we are vibing right here. For our very first episode, I'm going to bring you to what is probably Singapore's most well-known haunted location, and that is Old Changi Hospital.
Oh my God.
From its start as a hospital for the Royal British Air Force to its transformation to a prisoner of war camp during the Japanese regime, Old Changi Hospital has certainly defined its reputation in the paranormal scene. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Well,
definitely. Let's go.
This is the notorious Old Changi Hospital. Have you been here before?
No, this is my first time. I've been outside, but never inside.
I'm sure you have heard stories, right?
Definitely, I think I've heard more of the haunting side, but not the history side. So the haunting is mostly all those viral videos of window slamming and pictures of
Window slamming.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me give you a bit of background history of this place. It's built in 1935. And back then it was built by the British for the Royal Air Force. So imagine all these old colonial houses, the families were all living here. So this hospital was meant to service the families and the soldiers. Okay? But in 1942 to 1945, history lesson, what happened to Singapore?
The Japanese occupation.
They came here, they felt, hey, hospital, why not? Turn some of the rooms into rooms for prisoners of war. So you do know what happens to prisoners of war. No kind treatment right there.
Bad things.
Yeah, especially with the Japanese as well.
Yeah.
So after the war, turned back to the hospital again. And in 1960 something, it became Changi Hospital. All the way till 1996.
This area is not very accessible to the public, right? It's quite far from everyone else.
That's something I want to talk to you about. Some people believe that this particular place, whoever decided to build a hospital here, some entity, a very powerful entity, had whispered to him to influence that decision. Because on this hill, somewhere beneath it, people believe there's a portal to the underworld.
Okay, that's not very reassuring. What if you're standing on the portal?
I got a couple of stories for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
Personal stories, okay? 1997, 98, this was about the time I was going to army. And there was no fence. Imagine there was no fence here, so you could just walk in. So we would go in and we would play catching and hide and seek. So you can really see the sun is setting, it's pretty dark. So one time I was actually going up there to the rooftop. I would sit there and dangle my feet up and I would go with my two best friends, Kenny and Norman back then. Climb up there, sat down, and I heard my name being called. Turned to my right. I saw my friend Kenny over there. He said, come over here. It's like, don't want lah, I'm lazy lah. So I turned back to my left and I saw Kenny and Norman were sitting there. So I turned back again, nothing.
God.
After a while, I got really curious, so we said, okay, let's go. And I said, hold on, I just want to check it out. So I went there, turned on my torchlight, and I found that the exact spot where Kenny was standing, there's a hole in the roof. He was trying to attract me to that spot for me to fall through. So those are my stories. Do you have any to share?
One time, I went to my friend's house, and first time going to his house, I don't know about anything about his family or whatever, and he brought me to his room because we're supposed to hang out and play games and things like that. And we went to his room, and the first thing I said was, "Did someone die in this room?" Like I randomly said it because we're just chilling, and then he pulled me out of the room. He said, 2 days ago, his grandma died on the bed of that room.
Dude!
I would like to say I have the third eye, but I wouldn't want to. If people ask me about things like that, I just won't bring it out because I think it's either they believe me or they think I'm crazy.
Is there anything around us right now? Because the sun is already set and you look how dark it is.
Funny thing is, the energy doesn't even come from here, but it's like behind
our crew?
the crew.
Also, like this is the
like
threshold.
This area. Yeah, this is like a threshold.
The inmates
like,
are inside,
yeah,
and
then,
this is like the wandering spirit.
Yes.
This cool looking gadget right here is what we call the electromagnetic field meter, EMF.
EMF.
Have you heard of that before?
Yeah.
How an EMF device works is there is a belief that ghosts or spirits emits energy. So an EMF meter would be able to detect the ghost or the source of that electromagnetic field has got to be right here.
Touching it.
Yes.
Sort of.
Like right in this axis.
Okay.
So if by the time it lights up, the ghost is already right in front of you. So I'm going to pass this to you now because you're the guy with the third eye.
Oh God. Is there anything here that is not able to come out? If you guys could like transfer your energy or touch this machine in my hand, or somehow transmit and tell us that you guys are here, would be good. I don't know why the alarm is going off.
We were here the whole time. And throughout the time we were standing here, anyone walking around, the alarm did not go off at all.
Yeah, at all.
The minute you start asking them to show themselves, the alarm beep. A, it could be a device malfunction, there could be a plausible explanation. Or B, such coincidences may be due to the supernatural. So then we need to try to narrow it down. You want to go to different parts of the hospital to check it out? There's a few other entrances if you want to. So this is the back gate to Old Changi Hospital. And why I brought you here is because as you can see all the prayer stuff are there. This is the place where people feel the strongest energy pool. There's like a vortex of energy. And that's why a lot of prayers are being done here. The guard house that I'm about to bring you in, that's the spot where people would throw effigies, idols or artifacts, discarding them. And usually these artifacts are not of a divine nature. Okay, do you sense anything around?
We like first saw there was something standing there for a moment.
Corner, right?
Yeah.
Because when I come in, that's where I felt that thing there, and I think it's still standing there because I can sense it over my shoulder.
It is.
And okay, I'm getting goosebumps right on one hand. See, just this side. I don't know whether you guys can catch it. Strong energy right here now. So you want to stay here on your own and do an isolation. Try to talk to the spirits. You can put a tripod down. See, you can just put it out here right now. Put it out here. Stay here on your own because there's too many people here right now. And try to communicate and see whether you can get them to light this up.
Okay.
Okay.
If there's anything or anyone here right now with us, is it possible to tap the device over there and make it go red? Is that you trying to communicate with us? Is there any female spirit up in the roof? Am I pointing towards you right now? The female spirit?
I'm doing investigation. Why sometimes we'll take turns to do isolation? Because your energy could be depleting or it's too strong or it's in conflict with the spirit. Yeah, but I feel like it's
gone.
It's gone. The air is very different now.
Can I just ask about this hut?
Yeah.
Was it built with the hospital or was it like it's a standalone thing after?
I can't be sure whether it's built in 1935, but this structure was here when I first started playing around this area in 1996. So
it's a very old film, yeah. Was it meant to to guard house the hospital Like after the abandonment, was it like?
No, it's not. It's definitely not built after the abandonment. It's definitely built before. And also, one of the stories that people shared with us is about a tree that is home to the Pontiana. So people try to come and cleanse that spirit, but it's so vengeful and so angry, it just rooted itself there. And we have not even stepped anywhere close to the hospital yet, which is where we are going now. So this part of the building seems to have a lot of activity compared to where we were just now, right? Remember I mentioned previously that might be a portal. Some people believe there's a portal that this hospital was built upon. So if that is true, then this would be where the vortex is. Yes.
Yeah.
The story that were told, and this was not a confession, this was just people sharing sort of urban legend. Nurses would say there's this particular room that no matter how you clean the wall, the bloodstains will always be there. When you walk past the room, you can hear people crying and screaming or rattling of chains. That could be, in my opinion, residual energy.
Definitely.
So a lot of pain and suffering that was in that room, it has imprints in the wall. It's not just the ghost stories in Old Changi Hospital. There are also some other stories about a very nurturing, ghostly nurse who would come down and take care of patients, and then the other nurses would come and the patient would go like, oh no, the other nurse just checked me. Is it who? Then you describe this nurse, but actually she doesn't exist. So very nice.
I would assume ghosts are like humans. They're like some nice ones, some evil ones, some in between, some are just looking at us.
Yeah. So, what do you think?
I think we'll go back to the studio and answer that.
Alright. That was an adventure.
It was.
Something I totally did not expect. How do you feel, Saturn?
I think I feel very, I wouldn't say scared, but I think I became more in tune, might I say, with this supernatural or whatever is on the other side.
And we were there from when the sky was light till it was dark. And then I asked you one question. Where do you feel these things? And you said it's behind the crew.
To me, I felt like maybe it was a little bit too far since we're away from the flag, we're across the fence, but most of the things that I felt or I saw was behind the crew, kind of peeking and looking at us in terms of like being curious, you know? Because I think as much as we are curious of what they are, they will be the same as us.
And you told me you saw a spirit, a female spirit, against the corner of the hut. Could you draw it out for me, please?
The hands are like, not it, but yeah, the legs are here.
That's way better than I can draw.
So this is a rough drawing of what I saw. So when we were doing the EMF down here, I pointed up towards the top of the ceiling, and that when I entered the hut, that's what I saw up the ceiling, and it was like it was covered, the hair was covered, and I was not really scared, more like cautious of what she would do to me or anybody there, because opposite her, like the one that was answering most of the questions, were this guy. Before you describe the guy, what I'm going to do for us on camera right now, unscripted, unplanned, I'm going to draw what I thought I saw. I'm not going to show you my drawing, but I want you to describe it, and then we're going to show the camera if what we saw was validated. There's a toppled table, right? On the ground. And I saw this thing. Okay, you want to describe it? Okay, for me what I saw was this guy's, like he's so, like it's very shadowy, very dark, but he's wearing like a dark or like a very rusted, like not shirt, but like a cloth, and he's like standing at the corner, just like tall, super big. Didn't look like a man, or didn't look like a specific person. It was like a in-between. It's like a very shadowy but very dark person. Okay, I gotta ask a specific question, because you described almost whatever I drew here. Do you see legs? Do you see feet? Or was he just floating without feet? No, he was just floating.
Right? Unplanned, unscripted. This was entirely just...
Wait. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Was that what you saw?
Yeah.
It's not made up, guys. This is real stuff.
Oh my god, that's literally what I said. It was like tall. And it was like...
all the way up to the ceiling. Scrawny little thing. Yeah. I didn't see any feet.
He was very like... not scared, but like... kind of like iffy about us.
Yeah, like why are we coming into this place? Coincidence?
I don't think so.
Is there anything that you learned from this trip, or what's your biggest takeaway?
Ghost stories, whether it's real, fiction, non-fiction, is why we are able to learn from our history and things like that. And I think to exhume those stories from places that are abandoned is one of the most important thing as humans.
Yeah.
Because it's like we get to understand our past, but also use that past for our future.
Wow. Well, Satan, thank you so much for being on my show, and I'm
for
looking
having
forward to
me.
bring you on my next adventure.
I'm so excited to be on the next adventure.
Well, folks, always remember this. Stories can be scary, but when you understand the history of the place, it gives more meaning and bring these stories to life. My name is Eugene, and you're watching us on Haunting History. Alarm went off again, and
We went to the fourth and third.
fourth,
Yeah.
and it just stood there for a long while. And then he went, "Is no one recording this?" And then it goes back down to 0. And that's the thing about the spirits. They are usually attracted to the one that is most afraid of them. And in this case, on our crew, it's Atika. If you see the camera shaking like Blair Witch 2.0, that's because she was freaked out. If you like this video, please
Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye-bye.